Hello and welcome to Mr. House Math class. This video is actually called How to Watch a Video. And obviously you know how to watch a video, but we're going to talk about some things we're going to do this year with video in math class. What my goal to do is to use videos to be able to actually, this may seem less personal to have me on a video, but it's actually to make it more personal. I like to be able to teach the skills as often as possible through a video like this where you can get it very quickly and at home and then spend time in class to be able to take your questions, to be able to watch you work problems and give you the individual attention you need. If we do that, we'll cover more math material. Some of you will cover it faster, and we'll be able to cover it where everyone masters everything they learn, and that's the point. But if we're going to do that, we need to be able to watch a video the right way, and so we're going to go over some steps. Okay, so we're going to start with a problem you've all known for years now, 7 times 4. You already know the answer is 28. That's not the point. The point is to talk about how we're going to do a video. You won't have very much, if any, written down homework this year, but it doesn't mean you don't have to write when you watch a video. And so it is important that you take paper and write down what we do, and you'll be able to show it to me in class. So we're going to practice taking notes for a video. The first thing I want you to do is go ahead and put your heading. If you'll remember how we write a heading, we're going to write your first and last name in the top right, and then under that you will write the date, and then you'll write your section, 5A, 5B, 6A, 6B, 6C, whatever section class you're in. And then the name of the assignment will actually be the name of the video. So in this case, it will be how to watch a video. So if you need to pause the video and write a heading down, because we're going to practice that, please do that. And when you're done, you can hit play again. Okay, I'm glad you've taken the time to write down that heading. This is going to happen frequently where I tell you to pause the video and write something down. So the better we are at that, the better these things will go. And here's the great thing about it is it allows you to watch the video at your own pace, and you need to not just watch me work problems, but practice them yourself. And so when I ask you to pause the video, please do pause it. Try to work the problems on your own, and you can come back and check with me. We may even work the problem both correctly, but 2 different ways, and that would be something interesting we could discuss the next day in class. Okay. So here's the first thing I want you to do after that. We are going to write the problems. Now it's going to be a little bit different when we get to word problems, but for right now, let's just talk about a problem. It's just a straight up, what we would call an algorithm, 7 times 4. I want you to go ahead and write down 7 times 4. Some of my problems will have numbers or letters, but some won't. If there is a number or letter, I'll need you to write that. So go ahead and write 7 times 4 on your paper, and we're also going to make a drawing. We're going to pretend like this is your first time doing this multiplication problem, and we're going to do it with a drawing method. But what you'll see is when we do make visuals and drawings and models, I want you to write those too. And so here's what I want us to talk about that 7 times 4 means. You obviously know that this means you have the number 7 added to itself 4 times. And so let's put that on a model. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7. Well, we'll do it 4 times. Let me do 7 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I want you to keep up and do the same thing. And if you fall a little bit behind, you have a pause button. You can always hit pause and catch up with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then finally, we'll have one more. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and so that's how I would show a second or a third grader 7 times 4. And we could draw it. This is actually called a rectangular array. You see that there's a rectangle around here. And within that rectangle, there are 7 rows of 4. And if we wanted to know how many total that was, that is what 7 times 4 really does, right? And you know, of course, that it is 28. There's going to be 28. If I remove the circles and put little squares like this, we're even going to learn area and talk about that being 28 square units. But 7 times 4 equals 28. The key is, I hope by now you've written down the problem. You've gone ahead and written the answer, and we're going to circle our answers. And I hope you've also done the drawing. Now the next thing you would do is if you did not understand something about it, there will be times maybe I don't explain the problem well enough, or actually we're going to use some other sites too. Sometimes we'll use a site like Khan Academy or learn zillion. And sometimes we may not explain those sites as well as, not explain those sites or myself may not explain the problem as well as you'd like. And if so, you can always write down questions you have for the next day, because I think we can always figure out pretty quickly where you missed something if you did. And so we want to put our heading, we want to write the problem and show the work, we want to write questions when we're done. And of course, if there's any drawings, we'll do them. So what I'd like to do now is to practice a word problem together, because word problems we're going to do a little bit differently. Okay, so here's a word problem. It says Julio is 36 years old, James is 11 years old. In how many years will Julio's James be twice James' age? Now here's the thing about word problems. I do not expect for you to copy down all the sentences of a word problem. Copying down a word problem is not a math skill that I value. But you will need to write things down. The first thing, what I do want you to write down so we know what problem it is and that you've read it properly, I do want us to write down what we're going to call the statement. And we spent a lot of time in the 5th grade talking about a statement, but if you're not familiar with it at this point, it's just changing the question into a statement. So instead of in how many years will Julio's age be twice James' age, we'll just say in years. We'll leave a blank for the answer. Julio's age you have to forgive my handwriting. It is kind of difficult to write on my screen, especially I'm left-handed and my hand drags, it'll mess things up. So please forgive my bad handwriting on this screen. But I think usually you'll know what I'm talking about. Years, Julio's age will be twice James's age. Okay. You do not need to write the problem. You do need to make a sentence with a blank in it every time we do a word problem. So that's, if you never have to ask me at any point in my class, do I need to write the word problem down? I'm always going to tell you, no, don't write the word problem down, but write the statement down. And that's true for watching a video or just regularly in my class. So go ahead, and if you have not done so already, you can pause the video and write, years, Julio's age will be twice James's age. Once you've done that, you can start the video back, and we'll talk about what to do next. Okay, so I hope you have your statement written. Here's what we're going to do now. We're going to actually show our work. You do have to show your work when we do a word problem. So I'm going to do this problem using a bar model in just a second, but it's going to be kind of a different bar model. I'm actually going to kind of do a backwards bar model, and I'll show you why. But in the meantime, why don't you go ahead, before you see me work the problem, why don't you pause the video and try to figure out the answer. Write down all your steps. You may get it right, you may get it wrong, but take a couple minutes to do it. Now do this. Don't get stuck. I never want somebody spending 30 minutes trying to figure out a word problem. But give it your best. Try to figure out what's going on. And if you get stuck, watch the video. Okay? And what will happen is, if I say something that unsticks you, you can pause the video and try to finish it on your own. It is great to try to finish the problem before me. And of course, at the end, you'll always come back, watch the video, and see if we got the same answer, and even if we did it the same way. And word problems will lead to a lot of questions, and I hope you write your questions down. So go ahead and pause the video right now and see what you come up with. Okay, I hope you paused the video, and I hope you found the answer, or you've at least tried a method you think might be the answer. Let me show you how I would do this. I would actually do what was called a comparison bar model. I would say that Julio has an age, and I would say that James has an age. Now I'm doing something different, probably none of you did. I'm going to do a backwards bar model. And the reason is Julio's age is going to change. It's called a variable that moves. And James's age is going to change. But the thing that stays the same, Julio's always going to be 25 years older. That's constant. We're going to talk later on this year about what it means for, there's actually a tiny number called a constant. But I could make Julio's age a bar, and I could make James's age a bar. And if you didn't get this answer, then please copy down what I do. You will not have to have the same bar model as me when you come show this to me. We may have done the problems differently. But if you get stuck, my way does help. If you have a different kind of model or drawing, that's okay. And Julio is 36, and James is 11. Now, I also know this. I recognize that there's a gap here that's 25 years. And so the question is, how long will it take for Julio to be twice the age of James? Well, Julio is always going to be 25 years older. So actually, here's what I know. When James is 25 is when he'll be twice his age. I'm going to put a question mark here. We always put a question mark. So the question is, what number would have to go here, and the same number would go here, to where their ages would actually be double each other? Well, I know this. Julio's age would be double James. Well, here's what I know. That if James were 50, if James were 25, Julio would be 50, because Julio is always 25 years older. So what number would have to go here to make James 25? Well, 11 plus 14 is 25. And so in 14 years, their ages will actually be 36 and 14 is 50, 11 and 14 is 25, and that'll be true. And so I go put that in the statement. In how many years will Julio's age be twice James' age? In 14 years. Now, that was a difficult word problem. You may or may not have gotten it, but I hope you gave it a shot. You showed your work. If you didn't get it, you could have copied my bar model. And, of course, you'd be able to write down questions, and we could discuss them the next day. And so that's how we watch a video. We're going to do a ton of that this year. And by the way, the videos normally won't be this long. This video is going to go about 12 minutes. They're usually between 5 and 10, sometimes even less than 5. One more bit of advice: if there is a skill you're having trouble with, you're stuck on one, the great news about a video is you can go back and watch the video as many times as you like. I'm going to keep the links up on my website the whole year. So that's how we're doing it, and I look forward to a great year this year of being able to teach math in this way, and then us discuss it the next day. And I look forward to seeing your notes and observations and questions.